It all starts by getting to know our protagonist, Levon, who works as foreman in a construction company after having a chat with his workers. The Garcia family meets with their bosses, formed by Joe Carla and his daughter Dee, while listening to the conversation of their bosses. Our protagonist notices a van park in the construction company. From there, he sees that some guys come down and attack one of their Levon workers, come to his defense, and with his special abilities, he gets give them another beating cues appear, but realizing that Levon can handle it all. Off they seemed up being removed from the Jenny's place, who saw the whole scene as surprised, and even asked Levon to teach him a little defense. Our protagonist faced this, only asked that you not tell anyone what Jenny passed by and accepted before leaving. He gives her some food because he knows that Levon is no eating as she should and just lives in his car. Later, our protagonist goes in search of his daughter called Mary, who lives with her grandfather. Levon doesn't get along very well with his ex-father-in-law and currently has a battle legal for the custody of Mary, where his daughter's grandfather claims that Levon did not has able because he's stressed post-traumatic after his time in the army wants its reduction visits. An event at the Sierra supervised even-sort protagonist is willing to fight and take advantage of the time you have with your daughter on her birthday at night. Jen and her friends attend a party for celebrate for her bad luck is captured by a Russian mafia that was in the place there. Jenny, as she left the eye, is kidnapped by these guys. Levon is informed by returning to work their bosses that their daughter has been missing, very heartbroken since the weekend. They ask you with all the knowledge acquired in the army helps them to find Jenny. Since you are convinced that the police will not take sufficient measures, Levon refuses for more than his bosses offer him money. Now, who knows that if he gets into trouble could jeopardize the custody of Mary after visiting a friend of the army. Your protagonist thinks about it better, and for the affection he has for Jenny and her parents, decide to support them in her search, promising to bring her back. Levon returns home like an expert. Review the information you have collected from that night of partying and infiltrates in the bar where Jenny disappeared. He pretends to be just another customer and observes everything that happens around you. You quickly discovering that the bartender named Johnny delivers magic dust. Levon installs a GPS in his care and decides to follow him when he leaves work to find her lair protagonist, The Edge, to interrogate him about what he knows about Jenny. The guy refers contemptuously to the girl, and this angers Levon, who does not believe him knows nothing, subjects him to a Johnny's most drastic interrogation. Feeling in danger, mentions that he's messing with dangerous people. Capable of all this does not matter to Levon, who just wants to know who is. They took Jenny when the guy was at his friend's arrive when he is about to tell him. Armed, so our protagonist, he takes it from Rian, using it as a shield in the face of the attack of bullets when Levon killed them all. Check the bodies, noticing from the tattoo they have that it deals with the Russian mafia, something that doesn't like it at all. On the other hand, we see Jenny, who is in a room tied up and with no escape. Meanwhile, our protagonist decides to wait outside the house of Johnny to see who appears in the place, does not take much time, and arrives at said Walla houses next to its 2 children. Review what happened and believe that it's a robbery because there aren't several bundles of money, which makes him very angry, since they can't believe that someone would dare to mess with them when he's zog out to lure. Protagonist continues with his struck after a long, ruthless criminal journey, stops at a house in the woods. Levon parks between some bushes and continues on foot afterwards to monitor their movements. Infiltrates in the house of Woe, who confronts him, throwing hot coffee in his face after tying it in a siege. He begins his wallow interrogation before Levon says something threatens him by mentioning that he doesn't know who he's been arguing with, that this family will suffer the consequences of his actions. Our protagonist only ignores him and continues with his questions after throwing him the money that Leva stole from him. Shows him Jenny's photo so that he can't tell where the guy is by knowing what wants to make fun of him by telling him to best duck in the lion's chest for one girl in front of them. Levon makes it clear that will not stop until Jenny can return to your family and be safe as still. So Waller refuses to give him information and sends him flying, making the protagonist throws him into the pool tied up to the chair. After translating some words, Wallow said in Russian, "Now our protagonist will go in search of a guy named Didi." Hours later at the Wallow's house, his brother Simon arrives, who, after seeing the security cameras, questions what happened, believing that it must all be Dee Dee's son's fault. Wallow, who calls himself Kept, because has never been concerned with business, angry about everything that happened. Simon demands his henchmen to find our protagonist and bring him before. On the other hand, Jenny faces henchmen who order him to eat and put on the clothes that Levon brought them. Whoever has important contacts commands to investigate who Dee Dee is in order to be able to find him. His contact just by listening, for whom he warns him that he does not. It is convenient to mess with him by claiming that he's powerful and traffics people, but still. So Levon decides to take a risk and gets it some timeless information that Luz, our protagonist, goes to the bar, that your contact tells you the people who are in charge of the place when given realize that one of them is armed, comes closer because he thinks it is a policeman. Levon shows him a bundle of ticket and the guy immediately he is with his boss called Doge, who is a ranked trafficker. Levon being in front of Doge, he doesn't let himself be checked this one face. The henchman of the drug dealer, the trafficker, watches from his throne as our protagonist beats up anyone who approaches him. When he gives himself realize his ability, stop sights and extends his hand showing respect. Levon mentions that he wants marketing. Narcotics asks you that each month he sells 2 kg to be able to distribute them. Right at the beginning, doubt of their intentions, but then ends up doing a deal with our protagonist today. Next, Levon goes to the place that they summoned him to deliver the merchandise after 8, and some moment Levon makes the payment and the henchmen only hand him over a cell phone telling him they will call him to deliver it to you. As it was, they mentioned that they should contact him, and to his surprise the merchandise was already. He was in his car. This makes it clear to him that he will keep calling to see how he's doing with the distribution of narcotics. Levon hangs up and ends the call voting for said merchandise, because now what he wanted to have connection with Dog and invite him to places where the big fish are found. On the other hand, Jenny is sold by her captors Viper and Artemis to a client who wants to satisfy his lowest instincts for bad luck of the type the girl does not give in, and in defense of him, and tearing off part of his media, Levon attends Doug's invitation and comes face-to-face with Diddy Woofter, making sure that his identity is truthful, shakes hands and does business with him, giving him more merchandise. Our protagonist, upon returning to his lair, checks Johnny's cell phone, their fine chats with Viper. When they were planning to kidnap Jenny, whom they had captured that night of Levon's party. They go back to Doge's Baron from the vehicle, tries to go. Noticed Artemis realizing that she is in the place. He knows that only has been posing as a client. So he sends the 2 sons of Simon to be approached. Levin takes one motorcycle and tries to escape through the forest while the henchmen marry him after a chase with bullets. So our protagonist ends up colliding with a patrolman. Simon's sons bribe the officers to hand the mover to Levon. Already with our protagonist in his hands, try to get the information out. Levin doesn't let up, and after finishing with the driver, sends a better life to his children. Simon's hot at gunpoint as she stood safely gives a little push to the truck so that it inks into a Simon River. Upon learning of the murder of his sons, wants revenge and orders that convene at the Council of War as soon as possible. On the other hand, Viper and Artemis are scolded for what Jenny did to one of its Diddy customers, since what if happened and brought them a load of loss of money. The enraged guy orders her to be sent to a better life because that's what your client wants. Meanwhile, Simon, too, meeting with the council, gets the support that he needed so that it could be done for our protagonists. Inset, they consider a big problem behind this. Simon meets with Diddy to tell her that has done business with the person wrong. When the guy was warned, show Levon's eyed for let the attentive Russian mafia go after him against the house of his ex-father-in-law, Levon. Fortunately, here I've sent him to be able to grandpa them out of the burning house of his son. Blames him for always putting them in trouble before this. Mary mentions to him that his father saved his life. When could leave it in there, Levon takes it to his daughter with his friend to take care of she. While he takes some weapons to confront the mafia, Jenny is taken by the kidnappers, those who intend to end their lives. Girl tries to escape through the forest and bump into a patrol car and think that his nightmare is over. But unfortunately, these area accomplices they are taken back to their captors. Viper armed use about to finish off his life. But the call from Dee Dee's customer heist prevented from doing so because the guy wants twice. Or Noyes spend the night with Jenny. Levin arrives armed to Deed's lair, whom, after wounding him, he orders him to take Jenny to where they have her when you get there. The information that our needs protagonist gets rid of Deed so that stop hurting more people, right? Being aware of everything, he sends his men finish off Levin, who already finds Infiltrator in the farm where they have Jenny talking about the girl when she was about to be tortured. Our protagonist throws a bomb and he confronts everyone. He crosses DHA and his henchmen arrive at the place with motorcycles. Putting on quite a show after a tough confrontation, Levin ends up taking Douche's life. There is hardly anyone left who goes for Viper to give him a few beatings, while Jenny, who is chained, uses his legs to finish off Artemis, who had threatened her with a weapon. Finally, Levin and Jenny are except both ride a motorcycle returning home. His exit is seen by Simon, who gets in touch with a man who is part of the board of ward. This one tells him to let them go because Levin already got what he came for. Look for something Simon doesn't agree with because it has now become a personal revenge. Jenny meets with her parents, who welcome her with great care excitement as Levin goes in search of his little daughter, with whom he now share break fast while chatting a little, and so ends this story. So according to the story, I rate the movie 9 out of 10, so if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content.